thanks so much for watching Making Healthcare Work for You, Different Perspectives and Empowering Solutions. I'm Stephanie Fields, joined by my co-host, Dr. Apoorv Gupta, and we're talking about our interview with Beth Lachance, the CEO of REVA Global Medical. It was an interesting interview because she was talking about virtual medical assistants, and then at one point she actually called them virtual professional assistants, which makes a whole difference to call them virtual professionals versus just a virtual assistant. And she was saying that all of the people who are located in the Philippines are four-year degree people. They're very skilled. A lot of them, might have been nurses in the Philippines or had some other medical background. And she said, this is a really attractive option for them because there are some really strong challenges from, she said, an 1.5 to 2 hour commute in the Philippines. The first 2 years that you actually don't get paid if you work as a nurse, you pay, I think she said you pay the facility and then you get paid. So for them, there's a lot of incentive to do this. But she said for the medical practices, and she mentioned that they're in at least 75 medical practices in the US, and each of those has multiple locations. So she said it's in the hundreds of places that they're serving. But these people are able to serve a need as part of the team. She was really clear about saying that they're not outsourcing, they're insourcing. So these people become part of the team and are able to take the burden off of some of these functions that need done, but don't necessarily need done by somebody who could be spending time with a patient. And so I thought it was interesting too that she talked about how it was a white glove experience. When she explains it, it really makes a lot of sense because it allows them to not continuously put a person who's standing in front of them on hold and be able to talk with them, even spending 5 more minutes, which that's a huge percentage of the time, 5% if you're 5 minutes, if you're only seeing them for 12. So I thought it was an interesting article, lots of different considerations that I didn't previously think about when you're implementing a solution like that. Apoorv, what about you?
I agree with you. Yeah, Stephanie, there are so many ramifications to this, right? Because you're dealing with people and ultimately people from another country. So there could be cross-cultural issues, language issues. They could just be work-life balance issues. There could be some resentment that comes out in the staff that are actually physically present versus the staff that are not present. And, and some dynamics and tensions that come out. She spoke about that pretty eloquently too. Sometimes that staff might think, well, am I going to get fired here, or am I going to get replaced? So there's so many challenges that could come up potentially with a well-intentioned solution like, hey, you guys have more work than what you can handle. So why don't, and you probably can't find enough staff locally to do this work. And even if you do, they're probably going to be a lot more expensive than what you need, right? So the business proposition seems to be pretty straightforward, and it's the implementation of it which actually always winds up becoming more challenging. How do you get a team of people that are actually working from a completely different country to function more like the augmented staff of a medical practice? I find it to be really interesting. I love Beth's approach and just the way in which she's thinking about all the different angles and how she's trying to connect the dots. I love the thoughts she had about technology as well and how to incorporate technology and maybe even use technology first if possible. But then let's be practical, is what she said. Listen, healthcare is going to move very slowly, and we know it's very people dependent and very safety dependent, and you're just going to need people. And so you're going to have to find those people wherever you can. And if we can find a really talented group of people halfway across the world that could be helpful here in improving our practice and our efficiency and our patient care, why not? So I was definitely appreciated the interview, just like you, and learned a few things, as well, from something you might think is kind of a road, offering at this point. So good opportunity to meet with Beth.
And that's what we do well. We like to educate people and learn things ourselves in the process. If you missed the interview with Beth, please go back and watch it. It's a good one. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.